What's going on, people? It's your boy BSG coming to you on a Friday. I promised you guys another video, and I promised you guys that I was going to do the giveaway. You're going to have to wait until the end to see the giveaway, to see who won. Appreciate everybody that put their name in the hat with the 100 emoji. Right, I don't typically do that, but I just decided to do that, mainly trying to, help people who are, less fortunate or, may not have a lot of funds or something like that. I am going to give out 1,000,100 in this video. My opinion, that's going to be worth at least $10,000. I'm also going to talk about 100 in this video, as well as this entire ecosystem. I've never done a video where I put everything together, and I'm gonna try to do it as quickly as possible. If this is your first time watching, I do deep dive crypto videos. I also get ads by TradingView every time I do a video. I have a stock background. Stock investors come with a different level of research and knowledge. Most of the stock people that I meet that come into crypto are the most knowledgeable people. Arthur Hayes has a stock background. CZ has a stock background. Most of the people like that, they look for metrics that most people don't use, and they have information that most of the current YouTube generation, or just people in general, are not looking for. All everybody is looking for right now is to moon. That's the only research they know. Hey, this is going up, so let me get out this other thing and try to hop in this other thing that's going up, which, for most people, for 99% of people, does not work. And most of the stories that you hear are fabricated. And so people are just chasing a fabrication. But, I say that kind of stuff and people don't believe me. I'm only a self-made millionaire. That's the only thing that I've done, is take a few $1,000s and turn that into millions of dollars. And because I live off of Bitcoin, I have been traveling the world for the past 4 years. And so I've had to pay rent everywhere, Airbnb everywhere, food everywhere, Uber everywhere. When I've had to go to the hospital, I've had to pay for that. If my children have to go to the hospital, I have to pay for that. Any unforeseen experiences and things like that. I've been scammed in other countries. I've had TVs stolen from me, furniture stolen, brand new furniture, all of that. And in 4 years, despite not having a job, I have more money now than when I took off 4 years ago. Let that sink in. So, when anybody has anything to say, right, people come on my channel, leave little funny comments and things like that, they usually leave those comments and then they go to work because they have to check in. Now, there's nothing wrong with a job, right? You got to do something, but you're talking to somebody who is supporting their family off of just investments, off of just decisions. If I make a few decisions differently, maybe just 2 decisions differently, I'm not able to say what I just said. Literally a couple decisions, you know, like for example, if I make the decision to get into Luna when everybody was talking about Luna, then we're not having this conversation. If I made a decision to leave Binance and go to FTX and put money in there, then, you know, we probably not having this conversation. If I made a decision to, you know, sell my Bitcoin for other projects that were around at that time, Made, SafeCoin, EOS, and other things, we would not be having this conversation. So I'm literally here for two reasons: the grace of God, and two, the decisions that I've made. That's it. And I share this information freely. I no longer have a course, right? When I had the course, it was stupidly cheap, and people still copied my course and gave it to their entire family, even though it was stupid cheap. Cheaper than ever. I had people there was the Wolf of Wall Street dude got out of jail and a year later started a crypto course, and it was $25,000 for like 2 days. And allegedly during the crypto course, because I talked to somebody, what he said at this conference was, you know, Bitcoin is going to be very important. So, you know, you need to look into Bitcoin, and then, you know, smart contracts are the future. So you need to look at Ethereum. So people paid $25,000 for this dude to say, you know, look into Bitcoin, and smart contracts are going to be a thing. And they took a photo and then they left. Okay. Meanwhile, I gave people the type of information I'm getting ready to give you now. Now, actually, that's not true. That's not true. I've never done a video as deep as I would do my course videos. My former students, if they will comment, they will tell you, right? So a lot of the stuff that I do that is deep, is deeper than every other YouTuber, is still surface for me, right? So this information that I'm going to give you is maybe a little bit deeper than surface information. Maybe not. You know, it's in the eye of the beholder. But, you know, it's important that you know who you're taking information from, right? And I haven't done that in a while. I haven't said that in a while, right? Because you would think, you know, you wouldn't have to. But, you know, people being people, sometimes you got to remind people, like, yo, like, let's keep it real, okay? So I'm going to keep it all the way real in this video and share with you this entire ecosystem of the BYAS developers and why I think that they are currently, I'm just going to say it, the most significant development team in crypto. I usually say one of the most, but I know maybe not every dev team. I don't know all of them, but I know enough of them, and I know what's really going on. There's nobody developing like this team, right? The only thing, that this team doesn't have is, like, you know, venture capitalist money, because, you know, certain developers are, you know, come from a certain background and they're able to tap into, you know, VC money and all that. But typically when that happens, it's just about the money. So something will come out and it'll get a high valuation, and then they'll make money. The investors will make money. And a lot of times the developers don't even get to develop anything because they just made a bunch of money and then they leave. Sometimes they repeat that process. I'll talk about one of those things in this video, right? But all that aside, let's get into this whole ecosystem, why I talk about it, why it's important, why you might want to be interested in it or not, right? And you make the decision for yourself. All right, so I want to talk about what I think is the most significant risk in crypto right now. And it's a risk that most people are not talking about, and that is staked Ethereum. And what is staked Ethereum? It's just like it sounds. You take your Ethereum and you stake it. And currently there is 34 million Ethereum staked. The current value of that 34 million Ethereum is 136 billion. Now, why are they staking? First of all, let me back up. Got to back up real quick. Why is this dangerous? Because when you stake your Ethereum, you're giving up your Ethereum to somebody else for them to have custody of your Ethereum. That's what you're doing. And a lot of these contracts, I don't know if it's like this anymore because, frankly, I don't keep up with Ethereum like that. Ever since I sold, I stopped paying attention to it, right? But a lot of these staked Ethereum, the reason why you see this going up is because most people cannot get back their Ethereum for a certain time. I know for a fact at one time it was 4 years. Maybe it's different now. I don't know that. But this is the current value of the staked Ethereum. Why are they staking? Okay. In the case, if you're staking Ethereum natively directly yourself, it's to make 4% interest. And if you go through Coinbase, it's to make 2.75% interest. You give up your Ethereum and you give Coinbase the right to make 1.25% APR on your money, right? Which is just like the bank, which is exactly what Coinbase is trying to do. They are turning your money into their money. And here is, just for context, just so you know what Coinbase is trying to achieve. Coinbase has a market cap of 712 million in terms of their CBE. This is Coinbase branded Ethereum. You give up your Ethereum, you give it to Coinbase. That's why they got that CB on the front. Okay. Just really quickly, before they came out with this version of Ethereum, they put out a lot of FUD on wrapped Ethereum and, calling it a scam and different things like that. This was all to set themselves up for their own Ethereum. So what they're after is this 136 billion, right? They're only at 700 million, which that represents like a 20x that they can try to go after. Okay. And this is all for 4% interest. The danger is, again, you give up all of your Ethereum, and all of this is like commingled. So even though there's a few different contracts, if one contract goes down, they will all go down because they're commingled together. And so if there is some type of hack or breach or something like that, then this is going to be the biggest black swan event in crypto. Right? And very few people talk. There's a couple rogue outside folk that nobody likes that's talking about this. Right? Kind of, I'm not really talking about it, but I will go after, the big wigs and show the real. That's taboo. You don't want to do that because, see, these influencers are getting paid by Coinbase and FTX and Solana and all of them. So they don't say anything. So they're able to actually create this false sense of security because you go on Twitter every day and, whatever influencer is talking about something else. but the folk that really know what's going on know what's up, right? But I'm not only surprised at the 136 billion, I'm surprised that most people just looking for 4%. And just for context, here's Ethereum back in 2021 at 4,500, and today, with everything that has happened in crypto, we're at where we were at $4,000. They just went over $4,000 for the first time since March, according to this. I don't remember that. Just went over, and before then, it was years before, right? I just told you 2021. So if you held from here, just like XRP, you haven't made any money, but yet that doesn't stop people from staking. Okay, all right. So what is the value of the ecosystem that I've been telling you about? All right. Well, I just showed you Ethereum at 136 billion in terms of the staked amount, right? All right, now watch this. This is something, if it will load, something called BYAS, right? And here's what BYAS does. I'm going to go to, am I going to go to this page? Let me see, do they talk about it? You know what? I can just use this. All right, BYAS. Be your own bank. You get payments every time a transaction happens on the network. No staking required. You keep control of your funds at all times. All buys, all sales. What it doesn't say as well is all transfers. So you are the bank, but you're not staking. All you have to do is keep the BYAS in your wallet, and you'll wake up the next day or the next hour or the next minute, and you'll have more BYAS than what you had. And it works. Okay? This was launched on BNB. There were problems. There were problems, number one, with BNB, with regulation and things like that. And there were problems with Uniswap on BNB, possibly because of the regulation against BNB, who knows, right? So BYAS had to leave BNB, and they're in the process of coming over to Avalanche just like 100. It's taking a little time. Some people have been impatient or whatever, but, you know, I'm not a developer. I don't, you know, this type of technology does not exist. Honestly, like, there's not many coins. Out of all the coins out there, there's not many of them where it pays you to hold. The only other significant one that I can think about was SafeMoon, and, you know, they rugged it because they were just about holding the coin. They weren't about building anything. BYAS is saying, yes, you're going to get this interest, but no interest can be generated unless people are using it. So we're going to build stuff that people use. And that's what they've been doing. So this is all I want to say. Okay. And I don't even know the market cap right now, but it's low. If there's 136 billion stake ETH for 4%, right? I'm going completely off of memory here. The first year in BYAS, it was at least 10% more. I got 10% more token, maybe more. I could be way off. At least 10%, and nobody is using it. 10%. So you got 136 billion clamoring for 4%, or in the case of Coinbase, 2%, right? Where you're having to give up custody. This you get to keep in your wallet. And like I said, nobody using it, it was paying 10%. Also, unlike Ethereum, this is deflationary. Okay. Let me, do they talk about this here? I have to go to the other page. This is deflationary. So being deflationary, what that means is, and this, I love this right here. They are the best, man. There's a burn, right? So regular fiat inflates, the government just prints. This actually deflates. So you're building for stuff, you're using it, and every time somebody buy, there's less of it. Every time somebody sell, there's less of it. Every time somebody do a transaction, there's less of it. So it's deflationary. So if people are using it, and if there's less of it, there's only one way that goes, right? But, there's no guarantee, not financial advice. I'm just telling you. So if BYAS is able to get 1% of this amount, then, it's going to be significant. Like I said, I don't know what the number is right now. At least 100x, maybe more, times, your investment. And that's not true because you're going to get interest on top of that. All right. I didn't see the shake him up. Can I do it again? Oh, man. He was going real fast. He was like, yeah, man, talk about it. Right? So people have a hard time figuring out valuations and stuff like that. I always undersell it. Again, if it's 1% of Ethereum, not 1% of banking, not 1% of whatever, 1% of Ethereum, right? And that's $1 billion coming into BYAS. That doesn't mean $1 billion market cap. The money coming in doesn't mean market cap, right? Probably should, but it doesn't mean that. So if $1 billion comes into BYAS at any time, of course you have to factor the sales and all that. But if you had $1 billion net positive, then the market cap is probably 10 billion, 100 billion. I don't know. Okay, I don't know that calculation, but it's more than what it is now. Okay, all right. So that's BYAS. This is the first token that the developers came out with, right? And I was able to tell people, who were in my course about this, and some of them are still holding and still in there. Others, didn't see the vision, and they sold at very low market caps, and you could see the chart. They would drive the price down because they're thinking about something else, not thinking long term. If I had that same mentality again, I wouldn't be here, right? So I'm trying to teach you guys, how do you get to my level? You hold. The richest people in the world are the ones that hold. Warren Buffett, even though he hates Bitcoin, all he did was hold. Bought stuff. He wasn't even first. He wasn't even early. He just held. He held beyond times that people thought you should hold and made more money than them. That's called a clue. But everybody doesn't see it that way. That's fine. I can only tell you my story. All right, now let's move on. I spent too much time on that, but, got to try to drive it home. I don't know why this stuff takes so long to load sometimes. Here's Tether. You all know Tether. If you're in crypto, you know Tether. Okay? Again, here's a similar number, 136 billion market cap this time. Okay? All right, so what is the big deal about Tether? The big deal about Tether is Tether does not have $136 billion in the bank. In fact, nobody knows how much money they have because it's not on chain. Okay? Now, I found out something else that I didn't even know. Right? But they're at $136 billion now. They only have $5 billion in Bitcoin. That doesn't make any sense to me, right? If they had Bitcoin, right, seems to me that would make even more sense. But they have a little bit of it, and that's only after people complain. They've never had a third-party audit. They've only had stated funds and all of that. And this Wikipedia kind of goes through that. Right, but here's what I found out that was really, really interesting. I did not know this. Tether only has 2 board members. These 2 guys right here. And they run the largest U.S. stablecoin. It's based in British Virgin Islands, and I'm not sure. You know, I don't want to make accusations because I don't know. I'm not sure what they're like, if they're American or not. So you have the largest U.S. dollar-based cryptocurrency that's not based in the United States, ran by 2 guys who I'm not, again, they're definitely not in the United States. They're somewhere else, and there's only 2 of them. So literally, you're an argument away from somebody, you know, potentially running off with a bunch of money. Okay? This implies that the USDT reserves are still not segregated in 2024, and these 2 have absolute control. This is a serious problem. Now, I've always known about this. I've always worried about this. I'm not concerned about it because I believe that if something was to happen to Tether, then that money would go into Bitcoin. And so if, you know, 30% of that money goes into Bitcoin, Bitcoin is going to go up a bunch. So that's, you know, how I've always kind of viewed it. Like, yo, if something happens, it's only going to make Bitcoin higher. But this is an issue. It's not just an issue with Tether. It's an issue with all stable coins. They're based on banks. If something happens to the bank, then something can happen with that stable coin. And this stuff is not happening on chain. It's all off chain. The printing of it, everything of it, right? So that leads me to the next project that this same dev team did was DXO. And what is DXO? Really simple. You take Bitcoin, which is proven, Bitcoin, which is on chain, Bitcoin, which cannot be faked, and you burn that Bitcoin and you turn that into units of measurement that everybody can count. So if you think about going back to like the Roman days and all of that, they took actual gold, right? And they made coins out of it, and then you traded those coins, right? And everything was okay until they ran out of gold in that area. So then it was about where else can we get gold, right? Don't want to get into that. I'm not, certainly not a historian in that regard, but that, I'm telling you, right? Or even, you know, back in the day, Britain, all that, they stole gold from India and Africa, enslaved people, you know, brought the gold over and turned it into coins and bars, and that's what they used. Okay, that's what happened. All right, so DXO is that same idea, except you use Bitcoin, which is provable, which there's only so much of it, so it's scarce. Everything happens on chain. It's the most decentralized network in the world, never been hacked or anything like that. And so you take Bitcoin, you burn it on chain, and you turn it into DXO. Why would you want to do that? Why is that significant? Number one, you have no risk of a collapse. Because if you were to burn, let's just say, you know, 100,000 in Bitcoin and make 100,000 DXO, that DXO is not at risk of crashing unless, like, you know, is like somebody, there's not enough liquidity or something like that, right? Which can happen, but it's not like there's an existential threat because all the Bitcoin or whatever is being held, like, you know, like Luna, like USTC. It's not leveraged. It's not made up. It's based on Bitcoin, right? Even the core DXO, when you burn Bitcoin, it does not have to be in a liquidity pool. A lot of people kind of miss that. Like when Bitcoin came out, there was no such thing as an LP. There was no liquidity for it. You had to create the liquidity, or Bitcoin itself was the liquidity. So Bitcoin, you mined it. You had to create it. There were no exchanges yet. And then you had to go to the store and ask, would you take, you know, 10 Bitcoin for a hot dog, please? And if that person said yes, then you had a hot dog for 10 Bitcoin. It wasn't about going to PancakeSwap or something like that and saying it. Bitcoin itself was the liquidity. Well, now that Bitcoin is established, DXO at the core layer is the liquidity. So you will be able to take your Bitcoin, burn it, and then literally pay people, pay a business with DXO. If this works out. Okay? So imagine now trying to buy that same hot dog. Right now, Bitcoin's 100,000. You got to figure out, okay, how much 0.00001? Right? Maybe it depends. What the hot dog is $4.79. So you got to figure out 0.00035. You see what I'm saying? Or you can say, oh, how much is that? Oh, it's $4.79 or whatever I said. You can literally burn, I don't know if there's a minimum, let's just say $10 worth of Bitcoin and turn it into 10 DXO. And then you give this person 5 DXO, right? You say keep the change because you're a nice person. So this turns Bitcoin into units of measurement that everybody can understand. The wow goes right there. All right, now here's the second part. Everybody that uses Bitcoin, everybody that uses DXO, everywhere, anytime somebody does a transaction, you as a DXO holder, if you're going to use this, like you got two options. You can use this just like regular currency, or you can use this as an investment. You can own a piece of the network just like Bitcoin miners. Same thing. You own a piece of the network. So if you own 1% of the network, everybody that uses DXO, it pays out 0.5% of every transaction. So imagine now 100 businesses and you own a piece of every business. 10,000 businesses, 100,000 businesses, 1 million businesses, and you own a piece of all of those businesses. The thing that I dislike about Tether the most is that, I was around when there was less than 1 billion Tether. And let's say I had 10,000 Tether in my wallet. Now that it's at 136 billion in valuation, I didn't get paid any additional tether for holding that 10,000 tether. All of the interest, all of the printing, that went to Tether. They're making money off of this. They're making billions, and they're keeping it all for themselves. Now, if DXO grows, and I'm going to use the same example, right? 1% of Tether, if it grows to 1.3 billion, then depending on how much DXO you have, you will get to accumulate a percentage of all of that 1.3 billion. So the biggest complaint that Bitcoin people have is, oh, it doesn't generate interest. Okay. Well, only to the uninitiated it doesn't generate interest, but I'm not going to talk about that. If I want to, I can get interest on my Bitcoin today, but I'm not going to talk about that. But with DXO, you can literally instantaneously turn your Bitcoin into an interest-bearing thing. Right? If you sell your Bitcoin now into Tether, like I said, 100,000 Tether, it will be 100,000 Tether for, however long. You won't be getting any interest from that. Right? But if you turn your Bitcoin into 100,000 DXO, then maybe perhaps, at the end of the year, it might be 102,000, 103,000. Now this one I know more because I paid attention more, or maybe because it was easier to count. This paid the first year with nobody using it about 15%. Nobody you've never heard of it. Nobody using it. 15%. Okay? So that's DXO. Again, if it gets a small part of that, then everybody, that's a part of it is going to make a lot of money, which is, what we're trying to do. Right? Now, here's the last part. And here's probably the most important part. Not probably, definitely. Everything that I just mentioned to you so far, it has one thing in common. If hackers get into your wallet, they can take your BYAS. If hackers get into your wallet, they can take your DXO. There's nothing that can be done about it. Okay, so how prolific are the hackers? All right, well, in the first half of 2024, 679 million was lost to cryptocurrency fraud. That's the first half. That means we're over $1 billion now. Okay, this includes crypto exchange, lost 230 million. There was another 320 million hack of an exchange in Japan this year. So again, we're talking about managing your own money, holding it in your account, but the average person is not savvy enough to protect themselves. And even if you are savvy, it's hard to protect yourself. Okay, so let's get into that, because that's a lot of people think, all I got to do is use a ledger and this, and then I'm fine. No, you're not. Ledgers are not secure. Period. All right, so let's talk about the type of scams. Number one, phishing scams. In this crypto hack, scammers create fake websites or emails that mimic legitimate cryptocurrency exchanges. Not just exchange, they ain't got nothing to do with that. Any website. Then they proceed to log in credentials and access to funds. A user receives an email that appears to be from their wallet provider, asking them to enter their private key on a fake website. This is number one. Okay. If you are one letter off of the website you're going to, that can take your money. As they said, emails. I've seen people hack through Zoom. So, they get a Zoom call from somebody that they're trying to get in touch with, some influencer or some crypto person, right? And, they click on the Zoom link and something happens to the Zoom. And they be like, oh, something is wrong. You need to download this new thing, so your Zoom will work. And they download it and it's malware and they take your money. People have lost millions of dollars like that. Pump and dump schemes, okay, where scammers manipulate the price. Yep, that happens every day. Fake ICOs, malware scams. Scammers use malware to gain access to a victim's cryptocurrency wallet or private keys. Infected files, websites, software downloads deliver this malware. You can literally be trying to download Spotify, and some hacker will create a fake Spotify. Like, this is the thing you guys got to understand. This is the most dangerous right here, because you can be downloading anything and, they can use that to crawl onto your device, right? And, now they have access to your funds. Okay, so here's the thing. What is it that stops this? A little currency called 100 coin, which I've talked about several times. And what does 100 coin do? Just in simple terms, it stops all of that. Can't pump and dump. No bots. No none of that. Okay? It's the first ever cryptocurrency to do this. So literally, if we go back here, phishing scams, 100 stops this. Pump and dump schemes, you cannot pump and dump 100. Fake ICOs, ain't got to worry about that. Malware scams, 100 stops this. If the malware gets on your computer and you have topped up your 100, which, you buy whatever amount of 100, right? If you don't have a lot of money, you keep buying, right? If you made a nice, good initial purchase, right? Maybe 10,000 or 2,000 or 1,000, whatever it is in, your country. To protect that, you can spend pennies. Pennies. After your 100 hours is up, you can do a buy transaction for pennies, right? 20 cents, whatever. And even if the malware is on your computer, they cannot take your 100. Rug pulls, not possible. Because even the liquidity is locked up through 100. Right? A lot of people who are used to, rugs, look at 100 and they'll go to whatever how come the liquidity is not locked up? The liquidity is automatically locked up through the code. Again, you don't have to trust another party to keep your liquidity, because if something happens to them, then that's a problem, right? But it's locked through the code. So a hacker can't even do anything with that. Giveaway scams, impersonation scams, 100 stops all of this. Okay? So I want to go back to this stuff. This is great. This is awesome. But what does it matter if you can't keep your wallet safe? You can't keep your coins safe. Like, hey man, I'm earning interest. All I got to do is hold, right? Again, you download a basketball app and it's malware to steal your crypto. Or you download some other kind of app, right? And it's malware to steal your crypto. You're disappointed. There you go. I got him to do it. Okay. This is awesome. Man, I can burn Bitcoin and I can create what I need on the spot, or I can invest and have it. Right? Same thing. This cannot stop hackers or anything. So imagine now there's a million businesses. Because see, this isn't just about right now. People get lost in the right now. This is about you building generational wealth. So in building generational wealth, you have to be secure. One of the things that I was thinking about the other day, Michael Saylor is buying all of this Bitcoin. Where is he storing it? Where is he storing it? Because if, the more Bitcoin he gets, like he's got enough Bitcoin now where, and, I'm sure he's got it stored somewhere where he thinks it's safe, but, people know how to get things. If it's in a safe, a vault or something, we've seen enough movies and they can get to that. With enough force, they can get to that. Or you have the risk of natural disaster, an earthquake or something like that. So you put your seed words in a vault, there's an earthquake, and the vault falls into the abyss or into the Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean. Right? Not likely, but possible. And if this is generational wealth, billions of dollars, like you want to keep that safe. Period. Okay? So now, all of that I said, now you understand why this, they all have tremendous attention. We can debate and fight and talk. But if you can't keep it secure, then it don't matter how much interest BYAS is paying. You can't keep it secure. It doesn't matter that DXO might be the greatest idea ever. You can't keep it secure. 100 stays secure by you controlling. Again, nobody else controlling it. Just you. And for pennies, you can protect literal billions of dollars for pennies. Right? So now I want to address the other, but BSG, look at this, man. It's kiddie. It's this art. They talk funny. Man, who gonna put billions of dollars into that, man? Okay. All right. So, real quick. Bitcoin's number one. It was first. Ethereum is number two. We just talked about Tether. XRP, Solana is a blockchain, BNB, and then number 7, Dogecoin. A nothing cute coin about a dog that's currently worth 64 billion, more than USDC, more than Cardano. Okay? Cute coin. All right, let's keep going. USDC, Tron, Avalanche. Here's another one. Everybody thought those Shiba people were crazy. Right? But here they are, number 13. Right on the heels of Avalanche. What does this token do? Nothing. Nothing at all. What this represents is people's investment in branding. Not utility, nothing, just branding. We can keep going, okay, till we get to the next one, which is Pepe. A year and a half ago, this was nothing. Now it's in the top third. It's worth $9 billion. Okay? So don't talk to me about all this is kiddie, stuff like that. What these projects have is, branding. right? People like dogs, so they buy Dogecoin, right? Same thing with Shiba. And then, Pepe represents, right wingers. Typically, that's what even right now, what's crazy is the Pepe guy didn't even want to be associated with it, right? And they still turned it into. So basically, you had Trump supporters and others, right? They made it into what this is. Identity coins, right? Branding. So don't discredit this, because these guys are creating their own branding. You've never seen this image. They're not stealing from anybody. They do incredible artwork. They have incredible memes, and they're telling their own story. When you look at this, this is undeniably theirs. Nobody can sue them or anything like that. This is undeniably original. And just as I've shown you, people who are able to tell original stories or have branding can go up just on the branding. Now imagine the branding plus utility. Okay? So that is the possibility of 100. Now, maybe 100 doesn't work out. Maybe BYAS doesn't work out. Maybe DXO is the one. Maybe DXO doesn't work out. Maybe BYAS doesn't work out. Maybe 100 is the one. Okay? I'm giving you 3 ridiculously early projects that nobody's talking about. There's one more thing we got to discuss, and that's my track record. All right. So let's go down and look at these cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin, I was early. I bought Bitcoin before most people. Ethereum, I was early. I bought Ethereum for $83. Okay, I just told you I was early on Tether but couldn't capitalize on it. BNB, I bought for $1. I could have bought it for 20-something cents, but I wanted to do my due diligence and wait. And so after I did my due diligence, it was $1. Okay, so I was early on that. Dogecoin, I could have bought very early, but I didn't understand branding and marketing and stuff at that time. And so, I overlooked that. I thought it was stupid. So again, I'm talking to you from experience. I thought it was stupid. Okay, prove me wrong. I was never interested in that, but I just want to show you Bitcoin Cash, I was early. One of the earliest people. Uniswap, I was early. Did I miss Chainlink? Where we at? There we go. Chainlink. Okay. So, of course, I was early on this. So in the top 30 things that I was in early before most people got in it. Bitcoin, 1. Ethereum, 2. 3. 4 that I was in. 5, excuse me. 5 of the top 20 cryptocurrencies, with the exception of Bitcoin, which was the first one, these currencies, cryptos, were not top when I got into them. They were very much outsider. Nobody was paying attention to BNB. Nobody was paying attention like that to Chainlink. And definitely most people, they were hating on Bitcoin Cash. So 5 in the top 20 I was in. I could have been in for sure Doge. Right? And we'll just leave it at that. I was never going to get into Stellar and all that. Not only that, there were currencies that were in the top that I didn't invest in, that I called scams before everybody. I wonder if this is still in the top 100 even. I told you I was going to tell you about one of the projects that raised a bunch of money and then ran off the money. There they go. BYAS. Can't even believe that they're still here. This company raised $4 billion in an ICO and ran off with the money. Everybody put them on an exchange and all that, and they ran off. So this was the top. This was bigger than Bitcoin in terms of like socially. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Right? So you also have that to think about. My track record and the value of what these can be. Right? I'm personally amazed that people still doubt me, but hey, that's life. Whatever. I put this out there for you guys, right? For you to do what you want to do with it. Just like I put it out there when Bitcoin was $150, $300, and I'm like, come on, y'all, buy Bitcoin. This has the potential to be something. And people laughed at me because I didn't have followers and this and that. And, you know, oh man, you only got 100-something followers. Why should I listen to you? People would actually comment that. Then it was 500. Then, oh, you only got 1,000 followers. You only got this. When I would show my face, oh man, your shirt is bummy. You know, oh man, this. Oh, bro, you should get a haircut. All this kind of stuff. Right? But yet, I've been early. So, this is why I'm sharing this stuff with y'all. Like I said, BYAS is yet to come over. DXO is yet to come over. I know for a fact that this is going to be last, because this is going to take some time, right? BYAS we hope to have any day or something, you know, based on what the devs are saying, maybe next week or something, right? 100 we have now. And again, it is my belief you can't, everything is, nothing matters without security. This is the most marketable. People look at this website, they fall in love with the website, they love the branding. Even people that hate on 100, they love the art. That's called a clue. That's the stuff that people are discrediting. You choose what works for you. I'm going to be in all three because I'm increasing my eyes. All right? It's your boy BSG. Oh, wait. I almost did it again. I almost did it again. I was about to let it go. All right, the winner of the whatever, put in your 100 in the comment in my video the other day, is this person right here, whoever this is, Wazilla 450. Congratulations, sir or ma'am. You just won $1,100,000. I'll need your address. You know, not your physical address. I'm sure you understand, crypto address, and I'll be sending you $1,100,000 that I personally bought with my own money. All the 100 I have, I bought. So I'm giving it to you with my own money. So congratulations to Wazilla. All right, now I can say it. Man, I can't believe I almost did it. It's your boy BSG. I'm going to holler at y'all in the next video.